Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating, super focused micro-observation from a totally dedicated gardener. We're zeroing in on a specific journal entry by an author named Ang, published back on August 11th, 2026. Now, this entry might be on the shorter side, but it is literally packed with insights about the cycles of nature, the life cycle of one specific tree, and the kind of mindset you really need to cultivate it. Let's take a look at the text itself. Okay, let's dive right into this. Just listen to how the author kicks off this entry. Dear Interweb, continues from my previous post. What I absolutely love about this is how instantly it establishes that intimate, living diary vibe of our source material. And get this, it's actually entry number 983. I mean, wow, that incredible number tells us we're dropping right into an ongoing, totally dedicated conversation between a gardener and the natural world. It's this continuous journey of observation, and today, we get to look right over their shoulder. Section 1. Beyond the blooming season, observing the Tecoma Tree's next phase. Now, to truly appreciate what's going on here, we really need to know our subject. The tree being documented is the Tecoma Tree, or if we're being scientifically precise, tabebuia-rosea. It's crucial we understand exactly what species we're analyzing today. The author deliberately uses this botanical name, anchoring their everyday garden diary with real, precise scientific reality as they observe the tree in its post-blooming phase. Because think about it, so often we really only pay attention to plants when they're just bursting with bright, flashy flowers, right? But this journal entry totally shifts our focus. It challenges us to find the beauty and the biological importance in those quiet, subtle periods right after the blooms fade. Let's move along and see how this builds out. The author lays out a super clear timeline of the tree's life cycle. First up is the typical blooming season, which usually runs from February all the way through April. But remember, this particular entry was jotted down in August. That places us squarely in the present post-blooming phase. The tree has already dropped its flowers, and these raw, greenish fruits have just started to pop up. And that directly points us toward a future harvest. But that can only happen much later, once those seed pods eventually turn dark brown or black. Section 2, the waiting game, patience for the pods. Now, what's really interesting about this is the physical scale the author points out. The text specifically notes that the tree is still within the height of a human adult. Think about why that detail actually matters. You see, gardening is so deeply rooted in the patience required to let nature take its course. Sure, but it's also about how we physically interact with that environment. Because this tree is still pretty small and basically at eye level, any future manual harvesting becomes highly accessible. The gardener doesn't have to haul out some massive ladder or, rent a cherry picker. They can literally just walk right up to the tree, observe it up close, and easily reach out to harvest the pods when the perfect moment arrives. But wait, how do they actually know when that time is right? While the author details specific visual color cues that the gardener has to patiently track before doing anything. Step 1 is exactly where we are right now, observing that the fruits are currently raw or greenish, so you definitely do not touch them yet. Step 2 is the waiting period. You literally just wait until the seed pods completely transition to a dark brown or black color. This stark, undeniable color change is basically nature's built-in visual indicator, letting you know that the seeds inside are fully mature and ready to go. Section 3, 2 paths to propagate, harvest or nature's way. So the crucial point here is that as the gardener looks at those green pods and waits for them to darken, they're already planning ahead. How do we weigh the two propagation methods laid out in Ang's journal? Well, the first option is pure human intervention. Wait it out and then harvest those dark pods later by hand. This completely relies on the tree being at that accessible height we just talked about, and it guarantees you secure the seeds yourself. The second option, though, is a completely passive approach. Basically, finding seedlings that have sprouted naturally from fallen seeds. This means doing absolutely nothing, just letting the pods dry out, fall down to the earth, crack open on their own, and hoping the seeds take root naturally. It's such a fascinating choice, right? Choosing between actively controlling the garden or just letting nature do all the heavy lifting. Having laid out all these observations and future plans, the author brings this little micro-observation right back to its personal roots. Till the next post, yours truly, Ang. It closes out the diary entry loop so beautifully with the author's exact sign-off. And it's a great reminder for us that this analysis isn't some final ending. It's really just one fleeting, beautiful moment in a much larger, ongoing story of a gardener tending to their little patch of the earth. And that brings us to the end of this explainer, leaving us basically in the exact same position as the author, just waiting to see what happens next. Will the tree be harvested by hand, or is nature going to swoop in and sprout those seedlings first? It so perfectly captures that meditative, wait and see nature of gardening, and it really invites all of us to ponder the final outcome. So, what do you think will happen? Keep observing the tiny details in your own world, and we'll catch you on the next explainer.